Welcome back to Album Showdown! Welcome, yes, applause, please, thank you. Now, you guys should know how this works by now. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing this because I feel like an idiot. We line up two albums, no rules on which albums they have to be. Today I chose Royal Blood's two albums, and we're gonna compare track by track to see which one has more winning tracks. Now, just because an album has more tracks that win doesn't mean it necessarily is a better album, because I could like a few of the ones that I like on one album a ton and like some of the ones I like on another album just a moderate amount. First matchup is one of the craziest, Out of the Black versus How Did We Get So Dark. Now, both of these songs are the best. They're actually really similar in structure. They're very similar to how they both start off kind of mellow and quickly build into an explosive chorus. They have crazy outros. How Did We Get So Dark added some extra vocals, backing vocals into the outro riff. But there's almost no universe that I could imagine where somebody would pick How Did We Get So Dark over Out of the Black, despite them both being phenomenal. Like I said, the best. Out of the Black is just like a slightly better version in almost every way. I think the outro riff is just like a tiny bit cooler and catchier and heavier. Just seeing it live too probably is something that might bring it to the next step for you, because How Did We Get So Dark is not quite as great live. These are both tracks that I would give 10 out of 10s if I was ranking them in terms of that, but in terms of personal preference, Out of the Black has to win. I mean, come on.
Round 2.
Come On Over versus Lights Out is a pretty divisive one, I think, because Lights Out is such a popular song. It is great in a live setting. I actually enjoyed it much more than Come On Over in the live setting because they slowed down Come On Over a ton compared to the studio version. I'm gonna try to stick away from the live versions a little bit, but sometimes seeing a song live can give you a new perspective. Come On Over, though, has some of my favorite riffs from them. I love the intro riff, I love the chorus riff. The only part that is somewhat weaker might be the verses, but I see those as a building block to get to the epic choruses. So, Lights Out, honestly, this is like a tie for me. But if you had to ask me right now, I'd probably say Come On Over just by a little bit, because I think that opening riff is pretty unique, especially on a bass, to have like a pull-off type of situation going on down there. Figure It Out versus I Only Lie When I Love You. This is another one that might switch depending on the moment you ask me. At the moment, I think I would pick Figure It Out, but only because I Only Lie When I Love You has such a short outro. The outro riff is one of the best parts of the song, and they let it last for it seems like 4 bars. It's like a 10-second outro where they could have expanded on that just a tiny bit, and if they did, it would have brought the song to a whole new level. Where Figure It Out takes that outro formula and does exactly that. It takes it to the next level. It's a great moshing song because of how crazy it gets towards the end. It has a great groove in the verses too. It's probably one of their most solid grooves out of all of their songs. Probably only pales in comparison to one other song down in the same album. You Can Be So Cruel versus She's Creeping. This is essentially a tie for me as well. I know you guys hate She's Creeping. People are like, this is the worst song they've ever written. But, it's a big but, She's Creepin' has one of the coolest bridges. I love the ascending sweep of guitar riffage that goes on. It feels like you're taking off in an airplane in the bridge and in the outro of She's Creeping. The verses can get slightly repetitive, but it is such a fun song to play on guitar or bass. You Can Be So Cruel, I didn't really appreciate it that much when I first heard it because it seemed like kind of a dime a dozen type song for them, while She's Creeping at least is experimental. But I will say You Can Be So Cruel has a fantastically catchy chorus. Seeing it live was pretty great too, so that might slightly edge out She's Creeping. That might also be affected by your guys' opinions though, because I've seen people hate on She's Creeping so much, it might have turned me away from it just a little bit. I shouldn't let that happen, but you know, it's reality.
Mission failed.
Blood Hands versus Look Like You Know. These are not two of my favorite songs from either of these albums. In fact, I might put these at the bottom of my list on both of the albums. That doesn't mean they're bad songs by any means. Just because something's at the least awesome level doesn't mean it's not great, okay? Especially Look Like You Know. I think that song has a great bounce to it in the verses and super catchy in the pre-chorus. No, it's not better. No, it's not better. And then the bridge is pretty nice change of pace. Again, not my favorite in either case, but I would have to pick Look Like You Know, I think. And again, I forgot to do the check marks. You guys got to keep me on this. Come on. I don't know why I didn't get a call from one of you. Hey, how did we get So Dark's on the board? It looked like it was going to be a clean sweep for a second. What will happen? Find out next episode. Little Monster versus Where Are You Now? This is such a close one for me. I think both songs actually have a similar feel, but I think the bridge of Little Monster might slightly edge out Where Are You Now because it just does more. It's a little more ambitious. It has that fantastic drum fill. The songs themselves, as they all come together as a cohesive unit, as the changes meld into each other, I really like both of them, but I think Little Monster just slightly edges it out. It's already 5-1 here, so it's looking tough for How Did We Get So Dark? Oh, yikes. As much as Don't Tell is another nice change of pace on How Did We Get So Dark, just like She's Creeping, it is not even close to Loose Change. I mean, that thing is one of my top 3 songs from them, so I don't even really have to explain that. I think everybody knows Loose Change is one of their best. It's so groovy. It's the one I mentioned as having such a solid groove earlier. Figure It Out and Loose Change are the 2 grooviest songs I think they have. Yeah, man, groovy. So, we're in the final 3. What will happen? Careless versus Hook, Line, and Sinker. So, when I saw them live, there were people in the crowd specifically chanting for Careless, like nonstop, like they really, really, really wanted Careless. And I've listened to the song a few times and it's not one of my favorites. Again, I still enjoy every song on both of these albums. If I had to pick though, I mean, Hook, Line, and Sinker is one of the most brutal songs they have. Hook, Line, and Sinker just feels gritty and dark, and like when that outro riff starts playing, basically from the last chorus or bridge, I guess, until the complete outro and the end, it's just like, you're just like gritting your teeth. It's just so energetic and brutal. I love that song. So we know who's winning that one. 10 Ton Skeleton versus Hole in Your Heart. Another experimental track on How Did We Get So Dark. And when I say experimental, we have to remember we're talking about Royal Blood here. They said using an extra tambourine was too much for them on their first album. So when they go out onto a limb and use keyboards on a song and switch instruments on stage when they're playing, that is huge for them, and it definitely paid off on Hole in Your Heart. It gives me vibes of Come On Over in the chorus. I think Come On Over has a slightly better chorus, but the verses in Hole in Your Heart are amazing. The outro, like the fact that the key kind of switches up, the chord progression kind of switches up in the final chorus, brings the song to another level as well. Pretty much the whole mix on the song is flawless. I love it. And 10 Ton Skeleton is one I never really got into. Live, it is a solid song. It sounds a little less full than it should. If you compare Hole in Your Heart and 10 Ton Skeleton next to each other with production value and with amount of songwriting talent that goes into it, I think it's not even a close matchup. It can't hold a candle to Hole in Your Heart, which is one of the best off of the entire How Did We Get So Dark album. And the final round. Better Strangers versus Sleep. Now, Better Strangers is one that I might not be as familiar with compared to other Royal Blood songs, and I'm not exactly sure why I've stuck away from it. Now, Sleep, I think, despite it not holding a candle to stuff like Out of the Black, it is a super dark, sad, depressing sounding song that is also really catchy. And I also think it features some of their best riffs. I love the pre-chorus riff into the chorus riff, and I love how the outro of the song, considering the title of the song is Sleep, I love how the outro is not epic and exciting. It's like somebody barely holding on as they're falling asleep. It's a great way to close an album. It's a solid song, and I think I'd have to put it above Better Strangers. Despite it coming out looking like Royal Blood's debut was going to demolish How Did We Get So Dark, in the last few tracks, How Did We Get So Dark really came up strong. And again, I love the first 3 songs of How Did We Get So Dark would be in my top 10 songs. It's just the 3 on the left side on Royal Blood would be in my top 5, because like it's just so hard to compare songs you love with other songs you love, right? Don't get too mad at me in the comments, okay? I know you guys are going to disagree with me on almost every pick, as is usual. There's no way anything could go wrong with ranking people's favorite types of music, right? There's no reason. People don't get mad about that on the internet, right? God. I gotta stop doing this series. Just kidding. I'm gonna keep doing it anyways because it's easy, it's fun. So thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like it and subscribe if you are interested in more content related to this. And let me know how you would rank the albums down below. The reason this is the video that's coming out now rather than the 3 Cheers, How to Write a Song videos and other stuff like that is because if you're seeing this the day it came out, I'm currently on a trip to Boston to see my sister-in-law. And I wanted to have a video that would come out while I was busy. And this I'm filming actually in the middle of the night before I leave. So you're not left in the dust for the week I'm gone. Actually, I don't even think it's a full week. It's like 4 days or something. But when I get back, I'm going to try to do more in-depth content and more music writing. And thank you guys so much for the support. It means a lot. I've just gotten monetized and I'm seeing not a lot of income, a few dollars a day, but something is better than nothing. And it's great to start building and start getting some recognition for the amount of work I've been putting in. Because if you guys have noticed, I've been putting up videos every couple of days on the channel. So thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you in the next video, probably. I just stole Markiplier's outro, and I don't even feel bad about it.